Biden takes another whack at the middle class, trying to destroy the USA. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, April the 23rd. And once again, your great president is now trying to fuck you through mortgage payments and through credit scores and through everything else that you can look at. All you have to do is look at the new plan, which is probably not even legal. But of course, it used to be if you had a great credit score, you could get a better rate. And of course, if you had a bad credit score, you had to either pay more or you couldn't get a loan. Now, President Biden is proposing that those who have good credit scores pay more than those who don't to help subsidize those who don't. Now, I don't know what you think, but to me, that is just another attempt at a destruction of capitalism. Okay? And of course, if you haven't noticed throughout the globe, okay, capitalism is by far the best system that there is, which is why people flood to the United States of America. Of course, now we're trying to be a piece of shit like the rest. And to me, it makes absolutely no sense, okay? I mean, you know, the fantasy of the day is the U.S. consumer is holding up well. You know, it's amazing what you can do when you look at numbers, okay? And you can make numbers look like whatever you want them to look like. For example, the inflation numbers. Yeah, the inflation numbers may be down on certain things, but products that you use every single day continue to go up. The farmers continue to get screwed because the cost at the wholesale level continues to fall, okay? And of course, those of you who eat meat, watching the price of steak rise rapidly, what you don't realize is that there's a shortage, which is why we continue to see these prices rise. So farmers are not making a fortune on the high price. They don't have enough inventory, okay? So again, we continue to see that we are in the Biden fantasy island camp, okay, of a bunch of bullshit that is all false. From the jobs numbers, okay, and again, the jobs numbers is something that has been misreported for at least 30 or 40 years, okay, and that is that we look at the wrong information. The U3, which is a 3-month study, versus the U6, because what we're seeing now is that the unemployment rate is still low in comparison, which is keeping economists from using the magic words of stagflation. And I would argue that we're in that stagflation period now, and that the jobs are not anywhere near as good as they'd like us to believe. Okay? But, you know, of course, we have massive credit risk from corporations, from banks. We've got a total destruction of the middle class with more cost. The U.S. leading economic indicators fell for the 12th month in a row. But yet, we're doing great. We're living our dreams. We're living in the fantasy, okay? And, you know, it's interesting. Once again, we are having the debt ceiling debate. Now, again, there's a question is, you know, what is the ceiling of the debt ceiling? And the problem is there is none, okay? And we continue to watch our politicians destroy this country, taking use of money that they don't have to live by a budget, okay? Now, they may set a budget, but they actually don't have to follow it because, of course, there's always the ability and the potential of more money that they can create out of thin air, really making your net worth less. Although your dollars are more, your actual buying power is less. And I'm hoping to God that somebody, and hopefully in this meeting, that will step up and say no to a hike in the debt ceiling and shut down the government, okay? because, again, I was very disappointed that President Trump didn't do it when he had the chance. And I'm hoping that this Congress, but of course, one of the problems we have to remember is that both sides of the aisle are shit. And both sides of the aisle have their own agendas, not including for you. Okay? That is one thing you must remember about the political atmosphere, especially now, is the politicians do not have your best interests at heart. They have their best interests, which is why we are depending on Saudi Arabia, on China, and other parts of the globe for things that we can handle and do ourselves. And of course, we have given up so much power to other countries that we are extremely vulnerable right now. But of course, when you have the cultural Marxists in power, okay, you are subject to being beaten down into the ground and destroying what was at one time the best country in the world. And yeah, you can send all the hate mail you want, okay? We are not supposed to be bringing ourselves down to the rest of the world. We are supposed to be continuing to push ourselves forward to have the rest of the world catch up to us. Okay, so again, you can send me those hate letters all you want and tell me that this is the greatest country in the world, which it still happens to be. However, the difference is we're nowhere near the power we once were. Okay, and you have the screw job from President Biden. You've got you have the COVID bullshit. Okay, and of course it has been found out that Dr. Fauci has lied under oath. Yet where is he? Oh, he's probably in his mansion somewhere. Okay, you know, we are now hearing about what has been done with Hunter Biden and the cover-up to not put him under scrutiny. Now, why is that? Why is it that when the Trump family was in office, if whatever they did came under great scrutiny, and now we have a criminal running this country, okay, and of course we don't hear anything about it. And this is one of the issues that we have to continue to worry about and watch, is that we do not have the power as voters as we are supposed to have. Of course, part of it is that people are too goddamn lazy to get off their ass and go vote. Okay? I mean, there is no accountability for what our politicians are doing. And I think that's that may be the great American tragedy. Okay? Now, you know, again, you look at what's going on here, okay? You've got banks in trouble, believe it or not, okay? You've got the end run around the FDIC, okay, to help bail out the very wealthy, the big donors to the Democratic Party with the SVB Bank, okay? And yet here we sit, okay, watching and having the government tell us how well the American consumer is doing. And from my view, the American consumer has never been in bigger trouble. Now, yes, the markets have held up, but are they really holding up? And the real question here is how are we going to get out of the mess? If you remember the late 70s when Jimmy Carter was in office and we went into the stagflationary period, what did it take? And it took a lot of tough times. And I unfortunately believe that we are in for a lot of tough times once again, from the ridiculous way that we run this country, to the giving up of all of our power, to the haters from the squad that would just assume destroy the United States of America. Okay, but yet the citizens continue to just stand by and let it happen. Now, are you going to be that same person? Are you in better shape today than you were 3-4 years ago? If you are, hey, God bless. But I don't know anybody who is in better shape today. And I don't know anybody who believes in all this bullshit from the transgender athletes, the things that Budweiser has done, which we will talk about in our commentary. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 23rd. We're going to step out here for a break, and we'll be back with more right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, April the 23rd. What's up, kids? Well, as you know, we've got some sponsors who sponsor the show. And of course, they are Brokerage Partners. And I have many other brokers. So just to give you full disclosure. But I do want to always remind you that, of course, brokers are important for what you're doing. And the first thing I would always recommend to everybody is if you trade both futures and options and equities, that you should have a futures broker for futures and an options and equity broker for options. Because if their main business is in futures, then they're sliding somewhere on options. And if their main business is on options, then you're missing something out on futures. And it pays for you. But my two partners are by far the best. And of course, Capital Trading Group, who's our partner in a couple of our adventures, is unbelievable. Okay, and they do great customer service and will help you, take care of things. And you call, they answer the phone. You don't get a voicemail. Okay, and that's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And of course, our equity and options broker, which is Trade Your Brokerage. The first thing is $10 a month. Saves me $100,000 a year in commissions. Okay, but again, they have the ability to automate our systems that we use because we've written the software, and so you get no charge if you're a member of our equity portfolio membership. And of course, hedgers pay a licensing fee, but we can also automate that for you. That's try.tradeyear.com/Bubba. If you miss either link, they're scrolling on the sides. Of course, our high school program with our last stitch effort to try to save this. We've got some things on the fire. Hopefully, we'll get it back up and running. But of course, one of the big problems in this country is that the unions and the teachers don't want to teach true financial literacy. We'll see what we can do. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bob Horowitz. Let's get back now to our market commentary for this Sunday, April 23rd. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 23rd. And of course, markets had a interesting week of nothing. And of course, we continue to be in this listless, trendless, garbage market that is just really, really tough as we continue to watch the VIX go down into oblivion. Now, again, remember, it was much lower a couple of years ago, but we've seen a dramatic fall here once again, indicating lots of complacency and lots of issues. So in the meantime, we'll continue to watch. But as we look at the major indexes, and of course, we are still long the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ, and short the Russell. And all four were basically somewhere within unchanged. I mean, it was a big nothing week, okay, where the spiders were closed around 412, which is around where it closed last week. So it's really a big nothing, which is very troubling when you're trying to be a trend trader when you're not getting any action and any movement. Okay, the dollar, which we don't trade anymore, but we would be shorted, and the dollar hit a lower week. But again, nothing was gigantic one way or the other. Euro currency, which had a slightly up week, which we are long. Bitcoin, we are now short. And of course, look, I still think that it's going a lot higher, but there obviously is a reason, and the trend has changed a little bit. And certainly the pullbacks are part of the business. Bonds and notes, which we are short both, had a little bit of a rough week, indicating that interest rates are going higher. And I think one of the things you have to remember is that, no matter what they tell you, the markets will kind of tell you or indicate what's going on. And interest rates are going up. The Fed is still going to be hiking. And the inflation is going to get well out of control once again, especially if we continue to see higher prices in oil. Okay. Gold got hammered last week along with silver, but gold was worse, and gold is actually now reversed. Tonight or tomorrow morning, we'll be reversing to short our gold position. And it has nothing to do with it. I believe that we're still going to see an all-time new high. But it does mean that we're coming back down, and we should see some pressure, and we'll probably see it. Silver could be very close to reversing as well. And platinum exploded to the upside, which is what we've been looking for. And as we told you, we'd be buyers all day long at platinum at about 1,000. It's now about 1,150. But again, we don't trade it here because it's not liquid enough for me to give out as a recommendation, except to individuals. In the meantime, copper is still in that tight range. Again, once again, we're in these range-bound trades, which makes trend trading virtually impossible. Okay. In the grain markets, the only weak one, we're long them all, but the only one that looks really weak is soybeans. Corn, down on support, still in consolidation. Wheat, down on the bottom end of consolidation, still at support. Soybeans, a little bit weaker, but we'll see how this plays out. There's a lot of things going on, again, that we would expect to see, so we'll continue to watch and look for that. In the protein market, as I mentioned in the opening, there's a shortage of cattle. We're at 50-year lows in supplies of cattle, which means prices are higher. But the farmers don't have enough to sell. It's an interesting metric, right? If you had 100,000 herd to sell at 150, or you had 50,000 herd to sell at 175, which is better? Well, of course, the 1,000 at 150. And again, it's interesting how they make it out, but of course, the shortage of supply makes prices go higher. In the meantime, we don't trade it anymore, but we would be long both cattle and fats and feeders, and we'd be short hogs that continue to go lower. Now, I would start to look and potentially bottom fish for hogs if you're that type of trader. I'm not recommending to you that you go out and do that, but that would be something that I'll be looking at. A hard hit in the hog market, I'll look to be a buyer. In the natural gas, which is now higher, and of course we reversed along during the week. And again, when we told you when it got down around $2, if you're looking to take a potential flyer, that might have been the right spot to do so. In the crude oil, we're going to reverse crude, or we reversed crude yesterday on Friday. Okay, if again, I still think it's going much, much higher, but again, it did break down from the top and had some pretty heavy selling. I think that again, it may get down back into the low 70s. But I do think that, by the midsummer, we'll be back up over 100. I think that, again, I expect another cut from Saudi Arabia right before driving season, but we'll see. In the softs, cocoa continues to run, we're still long. Sugar continues to run, we're still long. Cotton continues to do nothing, we're still short. OJ continues to pop higher, we're still long. And coffee continues to go up, and we're long that as well. So again, reasonable. Okay, we didn't have a great week, but again, it's very challenging in this overall environment. But again, the key is discipline and patience and being prepared and ready. In the meantime, we're going to step out here for our final break and come back with, of course, my commentary right here on Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, April the 23rd. Well, kids, again, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel, but you know that we have some brokerage partners. You know that I have many brokers. But I give you the two that I recommend and that I use 99% of the time. And of course, that's Capital Trading Group for commodities and futures, and Trader Brokerage for equities and options. By far, in my opinion, the best two brokers in the industry for what the individual customer needs or client. And of course, our high school program, which again, we're trying a last-ditch effort to get these teachers to step up and teach it. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 23rd. And of course, I'm sure everybody is well aware of what's going on with this transgender bullshit and with the sports. And you've got the battle of allowing a man who pretends to be a woman to compete in women's sports, which is totally ridiculous. But I think the biggest faux pas and the biggest company that stepped in a pile of shit, Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, of course, with their commercials. And it's amazing how some marketing executives think that they can appeal to everybody, which you can't. And of course, Budweiser, which I was a drinker of and no longer am, stepped in the pile real well. And of course, right here in Las Vegas, they have lost 4 casinos that have totally given up Anheuser-Busch products, Wynn being one of them, of course. And again, I don't care what you do on your own, but I don't need to be marketed to for things like that, nor do I have to have it shoved down my throat. And I think that is exactly what many have now realized, that this administration is trying to shove things down our throat and trying to make exceptions to rules that are not natural. Okay. And again, it doesn't matter. You are free in your own home to do as you wish. You are free to do as you wish, but to start to bring it out to the public and to start marketing a small minority in a mass campaign. Well, Budweiser just paid the price, and they've lost about, I think it was $5 billion in market cap or whatever it was. Again, this is a total travesty of what we're watching, and I'm thrilled that Wynn and other casinos have thrown out Anheuser-Busch as I have. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April 23rd. Everybody have a great week. Just be careful. There's just not a lot going on. It's a tough and challenging market. Wait for it. Be patient. Enjoy baseball, the basketball playoffs, the hockey playoffs, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update.